Weiss is, by the way, one of the most popular DJs of the world. He has been playing around the world. He'll introduce himself. Let's have Andrea Abraham from Fatribe, a decentralized fashion brand bringing the artist and decentralization to the fashion industry. Let's have Kevin from Megaverse, bringing the brands, the corporates of the world to Metaverse and use it to bring consumerism. And we have Yuvraj, who is not only building a Metaverse, but also doing it for a cause of bringing education to the from the real world to the world of metaverses. I would like to welcome all the panelists, and I am Rishabh. I am from TDeFi. TDeFi is a crypto incubator and an advisor. We have been working with crypto projects since 8 years now. We have a stage there. We have all these startups, these companies there presenting and talking about themselves. Please feel free to go and visit them. I'm sure you would love to go through the products they've built, what they're doing in this industry, and how they're contributing to bring mass adoption. Interesting topic, right? Mass adoption. Just a year ago, when we were in this stage, we were talking about, is crypto a bubble? Is Bitcoin a bubble? And today we are talking about the pathway to mass adoption. That's the journey we have traversed, the transition from thinking it would be a bubble to what we are talking today, with different real products coming into the ecosystem to bring real life users use it. Now I would like to open the floor to these panelists, and I'd like to start asking them, please tell us about what you do, and tell us about all of these people sitting in this room today are looking forward to use crypto. That's why they're here, to understand what is it. Tell us what you are doing and what's in it for them. Let's start with Weiss.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Weiss Abraham, founder of Frequency and managing partner at Electron Ventures. So it's kind of funny we're on this topic because I'm actually wearing multiple hats. I'm coming from the engineering and investment world. At the same time, I continued my pursuit for the last 25 years in the entertainment industry. I started from the dance floors in Detroit to being a musician, an artist, DJ, promoter, and continued investment in the entertainment sector. And throughout the years, I saw this industry grow in many ways, in a good way, and unfortunately, so much bad has also come out of it, and so much corruption and lack of transparency. And being in the industry till today, I realized there was no one coming up with a solution that was truly solving what's happening, which is higher prices for tickets. People are paying way more to go to events today. You're not seeing where the money is going. And there was no solution. Yet we are in 2022, and there's so much technology out there. Blockchain is out there, crypto is out there. All the solutions are there for us to have transparency, have solutions, and no one's doing anything about it. So as a VC, we decided to do our own assessment and do the gap analysis on all the industry, from the agencies to the record labels to the promoters to the artists, and find the problems they were facing. Why is there so much fluff in the industry? And we did that, and we found the solution. We started Frequency, working on utilizing blockchain and smart contracts. So from the minute you want to book an artist all the way down to buying a ticket, there will be full transparency, and everyone becomes an equity holder in it. There's no more assumptions that the promoter is lying to the agency on the number of people that will attend the event. So the agency will then jack up the prices, and we found almost a 22 to 25% fluff that you are paying as an end user due to this. But with blockchain technology and with smart contracts, it would be 100% seamless, transparent. You would know exactly where the money's going, and you as an end user can actually become an equity holder in any event at any time. And with that said, in order for that to happen, we also created the token, a proper utility token that people can transact. You don't need to wait for the banks. You don't need to wait for to have a down payment and pay up this stuff. Your cash flow can stay good. And the token would allow this to seamlessly happen. So the minute you buy a ticket, the artist would get paid, the promoter would get paid, the agency would get paid. So technology actually replaces all the middlemen, all the middle process, the insurance companies, the brokers, and it resolves an actual problem. And at the end, the real value comes back to the end user. So this is exactly what we wanted. We focused on a problem, and we said, how can we find the right technology to solve this problem? And then how to have that all work in the ecosystem was through a token. So this is exactly what we're doing.
Thank you, Weiss. Andrea, so a lot of you, would be would know that when an artist creates a design, it's not the one. They are not the one who gets the maximum profits. They have to build. They have to depend on intermediaries for them to push your design, so that someone else purchases it, and then you as an artist get 10% of it. That's it. So you, for your skill, gets peanuts. Here's a company called Fate Tribe that have built a decentralized fashion brand. Let's hear from her what they're doing in the space.
Hi guys, my name is Andrea Abrams. I am the Chief of Strategy at Faith Tribe. And like we said, wear many hats. I'm also the founder of Fiji Code. And it's interesting we're talking about mass adoption because a couple of years ago when we were talking about open sourcing utilities, talent, it was more of a dream. It was very difficult to gather the creative community around the platform. Web 2 was an advancement that really stopped at content creation that was more entertainment oriented. I like to say that we're currently in Web 2.0 into Web 3. And for the creative community in the fashion industry in particular, it's really important that we migrate with some methodology from Web 2 to Web 3, because there is a comfort that comes from Web 2. So we are launching an ecosystem and a platform that will connect our existing designers, fashion creators, fashion brands with a utility that they need to be effective in utilizing Web 3. The Web 3 component will have a full DAO. We have a token that's already trading, the FTRB, and will allow for staking so that investors in the token can also participate in investing in the creation of these fashion products. What's important about our ecosystem is that we didn't just wake up one day and say, we want to create open sourcing of talent and we know it's going to work for fashion. Very similar to Weiss, we come from a long history of doing this in the physical world. So our company was created by a fashion brand, Faith Connection, which in the physical world has been creating this collaborative effort for over 2 decades. So basically, most fashion brands that you see on the runways and magazines are typically structured in a way where there is a creative director and a very specific collection direction season after season. Our company actually is a collective of designers under a creative director. And they also collaborate with artists. So it's not unusual for you to see some of our prior pieces where you see the same jacket customized by a real life artist that takes a piece of art that would be on the wall. Well, now the piece of art is actually created on a garment. Imagine the excitement for the brand when they saw NFTs in the marketplace in the last couple of years, because now that collaboration, what we saw with Artifact creating a piece of art on a Nike shoe that then became a famous NFT, it's a lot of what we've been doing already. So then we get to the tools. How do you teach all of our fashion creatives, our artists, the people that are part of our ecosystem, the musicians, because we have a long history of collaborating with musicians. So we just made a big announcement for our new ambassador for this coming season. And we have to go back to Web 2.0 and then Web 2.5, because we have to show them how to use the digital tools, and we have to be platform agnostic. So we're going to be announcing tomorrow a new partnership with one of our providers of the technology, layers, NFT creation, avatar creation, virtual world participation. The idea is that when you join our platform, you learn to use the tools, whether you come from the physical world, the digital world, you're an artist looking for collaboration, and it's also a place where you can collaborate and be matched with other people that want to create a joint collaboration. Second phase of the project is the DAO, and that's where the full adoption of Web3 happens. That's where we will have product in our marketplace, but we're also going to enable investors to participate in investing and the projects that get selected on their own merit. So we do believe that adoption is here, and we think that it's revolutionary because we are truly disrupting and democratizing access to tools and opportunities that the fashion industry never had before.
Thank you so much, Andrea. So now, if you are a designer and you think that you have that knack, you can be the next Gucci of the world. You just have to go to Fair Tribe and start using the platform. Now, how many of you sitting here think that mass adoption of any technology, of any product, cannot happen without brands coming into the ecosystem? Let's have a show of hands. Without big corporate brands coming into the ecosystem, do you think mass adoption can happen? Yes or no? No for show of hands for no? Great. Exactly right. Without brands, without the supply, what would be the users using it for? Without the supply of products, of solutions, of services, there's nothing for the users to come on the platform or the retail to come on the platform. Now let's hear from Kevin what they are doing at Megaverse by bringing these brands, the corporates of the world, to use Metaverse.
So we'll take a different approach. Everybody knows Decentraland, Sandbox. Any others? Exactly. I can name some. I'm in the industry pretty knee deep, but there's many others, right? But let's be honest. These two dominate the industry. Now, if this is all we get out of the quality, I will challenge both their teams, but we're not on the same page. It definitely Sandbox has a very unique product. But as of 2 nights ago, 19 active users were on Decentraland. That's active users. That doesn't mean the wallet address users. Apparently, there's a couple hundred of those. I don't know how they got that number, but 19, it went from 36 to 19 in 2 consecutive days. They actually lowered it. And that's got to be very scary. $1.3 billion is their valuation. Okay? $1.3 billion valuation for 19 people. The other day in our pre-alpha, we had 53 people just running around for fun. Megaverse is the world's first metaverse built and live. Pre-alpha right now with completely built in Unreal Engine 5. Built in Unreal Engine 5, it's a premier gaming software, which means it's extremely hyper-realistic. Your avatars are no longer pixelated characters. Ready Player Me, anybody? Yeah, no, that's not gonna work, right? I need your face on the avatar. I need your hair, the women in the room, to move when your avatar moves. That means something. And that can only be done right now in high quality in Unreal Engine 5. And so what does Unreal Engine 5 allow us to do? It allows us to separate ourselves. And that we have. We built over the last year the product. We didn't ask the NFT, or we didn't ask the community to buy any NFTs. There was no land sale. There's no token. There's just simply a world that what we believe the metaverse should be is a usable world where you can come, live, work, shop, and play. Now that's cliche. Not everyone's gonna live there. No one's gonna live there, right? That's weird. Work is not weird. It's a very real thing that's coming. Did I mention that everything is VR compatible from day one? That's what separates us. VR, built in Unreal 5, completely live in a pre-alpha, which as of November, Decentraland, if you're out there, we're waiting 19 months for their builder. Our builder is live in November, in Unreal, in VR, compatible with pre-alpha brands. We're working with some of the top brands in the UAE, which is where the brand partnerships came from. Out of respect to some who are in current signing MOUs, you're more than welcome to come see those names at our booth. And DMCC being one of our more prouder ones. And we're doing digital twins, which is a cliche of the metaverse. But I'm wanting you guys to come and get your Zoom calls, get your team meetings, team meetups, Google Meetups, onto our metaverse, because we have those VR-capable opportunities today, and you can come sit in your office. So this is not cliche anymore. You don't just go sit in some random room that looks like a 3D image. It's an actual metaverse where I see you, and it's your face. And it's because it's compatible, and because it's an Unreal, you're gonna feel for the first time that it's actually worth your time. So I'm gonna stop there and let you guys ponder over that question. If you've ever bought land there, because I was a huge investor in Decentraland from 2017, from day one. I will admit, I did well. Who wouldn't have? But it was a waste of my time. It was a waste of my time because we waited around for something that never came. And I'm only challenging this very harshly because we're still waiting. And a lot of my people have exited and gone elsewhere because we couldn't get those commercial opportunities. We are not interested in that kind of kiddie game world. We're going to let them deal with it. We're worried about the commercialization of the metaverse, which looks like those corporate brands. And let's not forget that no one has built a metaverse for an age range above 34 or 5. The boomers are completely left out. Yet my mother is still a purchasing power holder in the household of 80-20 split. And this lady of mine, my mother, will be alive for 20, 30 more years. We have not built anything for her to come on and enjoy the metaverse, to shop, to work. She still does all those things. So let's start to recreate what the idea of the metaverse looks like and where you're going to bring in commercial opportunities so that we can get out of this rut, which we're going to be in for the next 10 to 12 months, which is commercial rut. I'm not talking crypto downturn. We got to build, and build we have. Come and build with us. We've done 10%. We're asking you guys to build the rest of what you guys like to see out of the Megaverse.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Now let's go back to our high school. You know, when you used to see a picture of jet engine or a biological heart. Do you even remember like 5 or 6 parts of a biological heart? Or anything that you read ever in your high school? Those 2D images with long lines, with no experience of the, you know, how the heart is beating, that bump, bump, that noise? No. Let's hear from Yuvraj, who have built an education metaverse where education becomes fun. Now learning becomes a fun. And it is very well established as a fact that if you want to change the way the world operates, go and change the education system. And you'll see a drastic change and a revolution coming in. Let's hear from him what they have done. How are they bringing more fun education? How are you making it productive and more retainable for the students to learn in Edwards?
Hi. Hi, I'm Yuvraj. I am the co-founder, the Chief Product and Technology Officer at Edwards. I think Rishabh made a great point in terms of education, right? I think before we sort of even jump towards all the statistics that my co-panelists sort of presented, let me put forward something which is glaring in our faces. The world today is facing a learning crisis. Even pre-pandemic, you know, we had a situation wherein 250 million learners all over the world was sort of reported to actually witness dip in learning levels, right? What is the one thing, doesn't matter which part of the continent you live in, but you will still be associated with for at least 15 to 18 years of your life? It's education, right? Education is something that will define your career, your future. So the metaverse that we are building is probably the largest in terms of not just the sheer volume of learners that we will sort of cater to, but also the maximum amount of time that these users will spend in. At launch, we've already collaborated with about some 40 universities. We're looking at about some 15,000 learners being part of the metaverse. And yet we want the entire experience to be playful, but yet purposeful. Today, wherever you are in the world, doesn't matter what continent, but you're sort of confined by the geographical limitation of institutions that you go to, be it a school or a high school or a college or a university, and the teaching talent that's available. But that's not fair, right? As a learner, I should have access to learn whatever I aspire from whoever I desire, right? So we want to bring in the best of educators. Imagine, you know, I could be learning one subject from someone who's sitting in US, another one who's sitting in Australia, someone who's sitting in some other part of the world. And we make a very, very informed use of blockchain, right? I was talking to a lot of these university directors, and it just kind of shook me with complete amazement that there's absolutely no way you can determine if someone is actually an alumni or not, right? People don't even have their schools, degrees, mark sheets, nothing's available. And how do you even bring in accountability and build credibility, right? When everything resides on a block, right? Your entire learning history is now available. And education, as we look at today, you know, look at the world outside. Okay. Sorry, got distracted by that. But you know, when you look at education today, one of the most weirdest things is that you do some course in some part of the world, it's not even accepted in the other part of the world. So in some part of the world, you're considered to be a doctor. In the other part of the world, you're not even considered to be like a medical attendant, right? How funny is that, right? You wasted so many years of life, and then nobody is even willing to accept you. Now that level of bringing in people together, education, believe you me, is going to be the most informed use of crypto and the Web3 world to try and bring everything together, right? We've already, spoken to schools, colleges, universities, right? One thing that is shrinking by the day is good quality teaching talent, right? Uh, everyone, everyone, and every child in every part of the world, it's the fundamental right to get good quality education. With Edverse, we purely and truly want to decentralize and democratize education for every child. And that's the aim that we're out to achieve.
Great. Thank you so much. I would like to have 3 volunteers from the audience. Anyone, any 3 volunteers who would just like to ask one question to you? 3 volunteers? Anyone from the audience who would like to ask a question? Okay, great. Let me ask a question to you, sir. What do you do? Let me come to you.
I'm Group CIO of a construction company listed in Nasdaq Dubai. My question is about regulation, because what you guys have said is amazing, but it's individual projects, it's individual initiatives, regardless how big or small it is. But until we have something like GDPR in the EU that can really identify what is acceptable. I mean, the previous panel was talking about identity and privacy, and then and the word of metaverse or blockchain, there is a huge vague things which we really feel like something gonna happen when we are talking about adaptation without institutional player. I mean, okay, a retailer is fine, but there is so little that the retailer can do. But when you're talking about institutional, they are the game changer. They are the big money, the smart money. So my question is, I believe without a clear regulation or standards, the smart money will not come. And then when it's gonna come, it might really make a lot of project protocol out of business. And I believe this is one of the biggest risks on this atmosphere. So I don't know how you guys are prepared for this.
Maybe I can you said you're in the construction sector, right? So that's one of our also sectors. And I can tell you, for example, you don't really need regulation on certain adoptions. For example, we run a EPC company in Saudi Arabia, which is maybe 5,000 people. We are actually now focusing on the metaverse for the training, including Saudi Aramco, including all the big entities saying, why are we going to the training centers when we can have it in-house, and all of a sudden your crane operator, your scaffolders, almost 90% of the training is now being done virtually, whether it's VR or now they're focusing on the metaverse, and it's saving them. Aramco said it's saving them more than $45 million annually. And ADNOC as well has their own metaverse that they've built specifically for this. So you don't need regulation as long as you have the capability to do something that's solving a problem, right? Why should I have the same trainer training the same people? No. 90% through metaverse, 10% the final test. So there's always certain use cases that will start popping up. And he mentioned himself, education is a big one. And if you are an institution or a university, you are regulating yourself, right? It's not changing much. And I think COVID helped really push all this faster,
Well, I think you mentioned 3 different things that are very, very important. I used to say that the word for me for 2022 was access, right? I get asked this all around the world. What is the difference between 21 and 22 in the Web3 space? 2021 was the year of the NFT, but nobody really knew what an NFT was or what an NFT could do, or that it would become this utility item that will connect the dots. So I say that 2022 is the year of access, and 2023 in my opinion, would be the year of interoperability. And that's where we get into some of the issues that you're dealing with. The reason I say 22 is the year of access, because we've finally figured out a way to provide access to not just a small group of people minting NFTs, but true access. If you think about creating content, whether it's music or education or fashion, you couldn't create content on YouTube on a dial-up connection, right? I mean, there were dreamers. I mean, I've been around for Web 1, Web 2, and now Web 3, and I'm going to tell you, we have been dreaming a lot of these things in the fashion and retail industry for many, many years, but the technology had to catch up with our dreams. When you talk about access, we still have interoperability issues. I loved what Michael said earlier. I come from the fashion industry. One of my partners is in the audience. He's been the most critical member of the team when it comes to the virtual worlds that are out there. It's very, very difficult to sell fashion when your hair doesn't move, when your avatar looks stiff, when it's not the same as the real thing. Now we have access to tools that can do it. But you touched on something very important.
Yeah.
They have to be interoperable. Otherwise, we're building silos that don't connect.
I think
And we have to have regulation, because you can't sell products. We couldn't sell products on e-commerce without sales taxes being addressed. I used to expand brands around the world. When I came to the Middle East with brands from America, we had to through that cross-border issue of how are the regulations going to happen. Selling in the metaverse, it's another region of expansion. So I do think that 2023, 2024, a lot of projects may disappear because they can't live with the construct of regulation that makes that particular industry work.
And just to conclude this, regulations, you're right, exactly. Without regulations, adoption is a challenge. But as a matter of fact, this is a chicken and egg story. The regulations cannot be drafted without the real challenges coming up. And the real challenges will only come up when there is an adoption happening. When the user says, oh, you know what, I face this, then there's a policy that's being drafted. For example, let's take example of UAE. Now, since the last 1 year, VARA has been aggressively working towards drafting regulations to create adoption. But that didn't start before the adoption started. UAE was kind enough to open its arms to help entrepreneurs put up in this ecosystem and in its geography. And then came the regulator saying, no, we are not going to stop you, but we are going to help you and regulate you so that the investors feel comfortable, the users feel comfortable, and then we use this technology. I think that gentleman also had a question. Would like to ask? Okay. Anyone of you would like to ask any other question? No? Great. So I would like to, let's move towards a conclusion part and tell us, give us a definition of a user from this audience, who could come and use any of your platform. We have the decentralized artist platform, we have a decentralized fashion brand, we have a decentralized education brand, and we have a decentralized corporates and brand integrations. How do you think, Kevin, what kind of user sitting in this audience would be the perfect fit for your platform?
Cliche to say, we'd like all industries in, because I was going to jump in with that last question, and I'll just segue it is, we have telehealth doctors, we have doctors setting up telehealth offices, and that's going to take regulation, right? Only America has allowed certain parts of telehealth to happen. Now, if the doctor says, I want to introduce it into the metaverse, that's a gray area right now, but it's doable. So that's a very sophisticated product, right? Telehealth, doctors, very sensitive, in America at least, HIPAA, a million things behind it. On the very opposite side of the spectrum, which is not high or low level, it's just completely different, is like fashion, retail, design. All of those people have a home because of digital assets. The multi-millions of SKUs in a shop and the multi-millions of SKUs in a mall, which would now be converted into a meta mall. These are all transactable items, and we like to believe that fashion, all the way to the doctor, because of the hyper-realism that's required, that it's just not going to fly with the current environment out, especially in education, and I'll bring that in. Are you going to want pixelated children in a classroom, or the after-school teacher, tutor that they can't recognize from time to time, right? It should be pretty consistent. KYC should mean something, right? KYC in the metaverse should mean something. And what does it mean right now? Nothing. to how am I going to feel good with my children going to class or myself. And I don't know who the professor really is. Doctor, fashion designer, fashion, digital assets, clothes, right? If any part of this becomes any bit pixelated in the metaverse on a digital screen, not all of us use 244 or 366. Some of us are still stuck in really crappy monitors. So let's be very honest. If you're still on your MacBook Pro of 2013, right? It's just not going to cut it with our metaverse. But at the same time, it's still better than everything out there.
Yeah.
Quality, design, and the attention to detail of the demographic. What does, again, that higher demographic want to see because they also have the purchasing power and they're most likely working in enterprise solutions.
Great. So I think that's a very valid point. You know, giving a real life experience is important for the user to feel that how they would see themselves in that whole ecosystem and an arena where they can go and shop in a mall wearing a VR headset and try the clothes they want to wear, and not just click buy, then I'll try it home and then send back.
AR.
Now,
AR. Let's not forget about that. I know that's a buzzword. We
Yeah.
totally threw
Augmented
under.
reality, yeah.
VR is fun. That's not going to last very long. You actually think we're going to last it, right? AR is where we're really excited about, and I can only imagine with everybody on this
Exactly.
stage that AR is going to be the winner.
If all of these panelists would be there at the TDeFi Pavilion, they have their booth set up. Please go and meet them. Experience the VR and AR they have brought. They'll give you a real life experience of how do you feel in a metaverse. Thank you so much for being an amazing audience, and thank you, Oscar, for inviting us here.
All right. Let's give him a round of applause. We're going to set up our stage for the next presentation, which is me. So I hope you're all having a great day. There's lunch cots, some dates, some nuts, fresh water in the bottle. Look at that. There you go. Take advantage of it. Grab some food. Have a seat.